Stories. Change your story, change your life. First, I will give you some examples and stories that you might recognize and that might hold you back. You will then brainstorm on what stories you tell yourself. And then I will help you to change your stories so they will empower you instead of disempowering you. Very often the stories we tell ourselves and others have no basis in reality, or what they say something about was from a time far, far away, and we and everybody around us has developed since. But the story hasn't, and therefore the story can keep us in a psychic prison of some kind. When we're stuck, often it's because of the story we told ourselves a long time ago. Now it's time to let your stories evolve, develop, and to change them to reach your full potential. We will build on what we know already about fixed and growth mindset, where fixed is when we believe that we are what we are. And growth is where we believe we can change, learn, and get better at everything with practice. First, let me underline that it's possible to have a growth mindset in general, and then in some areas still have a fixed mindset. I will give you an example. We have a developer in Systematic who's great at his job, and he's also great at explaining everything to others. In fact, he's great at communicating. He believes he can grow, and he's eager to develop to become even greater in many ways. So in this sense, he has a growth mindset. But when it comes to presenting something to a larger group, he simply says, I cannot do it. It's not in me to stand in front of a larger crowd. Sorry, it's not me. In this aspect, he has a fixed mindset. And this is normal to tell yourself all sorts of stories about yourself and others like this. Though it's normal, it's a really good idea to investigate this further when you want to grow to higher heights. So let's have a look at what stories you tell yourself to find out where you put yourself in a fixed, stupid box by saying that there's something that you are not, that there's something that you can't do, or that there's something that you're not capable of learning. To make it easier for you to spot how it both can work well with a story and how the same story also can have a flip side, I will share a story with you. A passionate developer has been working for many years for Systematic. His colleagues often find it fun to work with him, since he is quite colorful and he makes people laugh, and he always shares his knowledge and he's ready to help everybody. For many years he has been saying about himself, I'm an Italian. He has said it like in the film Godfather, and his intention was to describe his colorful personality, his big passion and willingness to step up and take responsibility. Looking from the outside, I believe it worked well for him when he used it talking with new people. It was clever that they quickly got an idea of who he was as a person, with that fast headline of his personality. The effect was that they felt much more relaxed and comfortable around him sooner. But how did this truth about him work in other contexts? Let's say the situation was that he had a lot of emotions and sometimes expressed these emotions in a way where people around him felt uncomfortable. Let's say they found it difficult to cooperate with him at those times. And let's say they tried to give him feedback, but what happened when he said, I'm an Italian, what can I do? Then what? Basically using the same story, but in this context, would give his story a bad flip side. Because then it would mean that he wasn't capable of change, because he was who he was. You can't change where you come from. Everybody knows that. Obviously, the flip side of the story in this context put him into a psychic prison of some kind where he would be closed off to feedback and development. So what might have been a positive story in one context, and maybe it was positive when he created the story, became a truth about him that in other contexts made him ignore other people's feelings. It made it difficult to improve, and the cooperation prevented him from important development. He said basically that he was either not willing or capable of change. But he was lucky. One day a new colleague came into the team and he kept talking and talking about this issue with the developer. He went on because what he felt was that his mind completely shut down whenever the emotions were running that high. The two of them talked about it several times, and suddenly the developer became aware of the prison that was hidden in the story. And he was surprised, because quickly he found out that he was in fact not in that way in every situation. In many situations, he controlled his emotions. So this was not him. It was not very easy to see, for helvede.